Jason Miller was the kind of man people easily overlooked. 35 years old, a single dad, and always in work boots covered with construction dust. He lived paycheck to paycheck in a modest apartment in Chicago with his 6-year-old daughter, Lily. His whole life revolved around her. That morning, Jason was running late after dropping Lily at school. He was hurrying across the lobby of one of the city's tallest office towers, where his crew had been hired for some renovation work. While juggling his toolbox and a cup of cheap coffee, he accidentally bumped into a young woman in an elegant navy blue dress. The coffee almost spilled, but Jason's quick reflexes saved her. "Sorry, ma'am," he said quickly, embarrassed. The woman looked at him with sharp, almond-shaped eyes and a hint of irritation that soon softened into curiosity. She wasn't just anyone. Her designer heels, diamond watch, and confident posture screamed wealth. "You work here?" she asked. "Yeah, construction crew," Jason replied, adjusting his cap. Her lips curled into a smile. "Perfect." Jason frowned. "Perfect? For what?" She leaned closer, lowering her voice. "For pretending to be my husband." Jason blinked, thinking he misheard. "Excuse me?" "Not for real," she whispered. "Just for tonight." Her name was Samantha Blake, daughter of billionaire CEO Richard Blake, owner of Blake Industries. Everyone in the city knew the name. His empire stretched from real estate to tech investments. Samantha was beautiful, confident, and every magazine called her the heiress of Chicago. Jason, a man who fixed drywall and struggled to pay Lily's school fees, couldn't believe this was happening. Samantha explained quickly. Her father was hosting a charity gala that night, pressuring her to settle down and marry one of his business partner's sons. They were arrogant and spoiled. She wanted none of it. She needed someone to play her husband, just to keep them off her back. Jason nearly laughed. "Lady, I'm a single dad. I fix walls, not play pretend in tuxedos." "That's exactly why you're perfect," Samantha insisted. "You're real, authentic. My father will never suspect. I'd lie if you're by my side." Jason shook his head. "You could hire an actor." "I don't want an actor. I want someone who won't be dazzled by money." "Please, I'll pay you well." Jason thought of Lily, her overdue tuition, the bills piling up. Maybe this wasn't such a bad idea after all. He sighed. Fine, but just for one night. That evening, Jason stood in front of a mirror inside Samantha's penthouse, barely recognizing himself. A perfectly tailored black tuxedo hugged his frame. His messy brown hair was neatly styled. And Samantha had insisted on lending him a luxury watch that probably cost more than his truck. "You clean up nice, Mr. Miller," Samantha teased, stepping out in a stunning emerald gown that shimmered under the chandelier. Jason swallowed hard. "You look wow," she laughed. "Remember, tonight you're my husband, so act like it." The gala was everything Jason had never experienced. Chandeliers, champagne fountains, white roses on every table, and guests dripping with wealth. Every head turned as Samantha entered with Jason's arm linked through hers. "Who's that?" whispered a woman in pearls. "Her husband?" another guest murmured. Richard Blake, towering and intimidating, approached with suspicion in his eyes. "Samantha, darling," he said, gaze sliding to Jason. "And who is this?" Samantha held Jason's hand tightly. "Dad, meet my husband, Jason Miller." The entire room froze. Jason straightened his shoulders. "Pleasure to meet you, sir." Richard raised a brow. "Miller, you say? What do you do?" Jason hesitated but remembered Samantha's words. "Be yourself." "I'm in construction," he said honestly. "I build things with my own 2 hands." There were muffled chuckles from the businessmen. But Richard studied Jason carefully. "Interesting." Throughout the night, Samantha's father and his associates tried to corner Jason with questions. "Where did you attend college?" one asked. "Didn't. Went straight to work after high school," Jason answered. "What kind of car do you drive?" Another sneered. "Old Chevy pickup. Gets me from A to B." Disapproval buzzed across the room, but Jason stayed calm. Samantha, meanwhile, was glowing. For the first time, someone wasn't pretending or trying to impress her family. At one point, Samantha whispered, "You're doing better than I imagined." Jason chuckled. "I'm just telling the truth." Then Richard raised his glass and asked loudly, "Jason, what makes you worthy of my daughter?" The crowd fell silent. Jason glanced at Samantha, her hand trembling in his. "Honestly, I don't know if I am, Jason said. She's way out of my league. But I can promise you this, I'll respect her, stand by her, and never let her forget her worth. Money or no money. Gasps rippled across the hall. Richard's stern expression softened slightly, though he masked it with a sip of wine. After the gala, Samantha and Jason rode home in silence until she burst out laughing. You were incredible. The look on their faces, priceless. Jason grinned. Glad I could help. But Samantha's laughter faded. You know, I didn't just choose you randomly, Jason frowned. What do you mean? I've seen you before, picking up your daughter from the school near my office. The way you held her hand, the way she looked at you, I knew you were different. Not like the men my father pushes on me. Jason was stunned. So this wasn't just about tonight? Her eyes softened. No. I wanted to know if the man I noticed was as real as I thought. And you are. In the following weeks, Samantha and Jason stayed in touch. What began as a charade turned into dinners, park outings with Lily, and late-night conversations. Jason introduced Samantha to diners instead of five-star restaurants, bowling alleys instead of art galleries. She loved it. Samantha showed him the corporate world, even helping him secure contracts for his construction business. But Richard Blake wasn't happy. He launched an investigation into Jason's past, convinced the man was a gold digger. One evening, Richard confronted Jason privately. You may have fooled my daughter, but not me, Richard said coldly. Walk away now and I'll make sure your daughter's future is secure. Refuse and you'll regret it. Jason clenched his fists. With all due respect, sir, I don't want your money. I just want a chance with Samantha, and for Lily to see what real love looks like. The turning point came when Lily fell sick with pneumonia. Jason couldn't afford the treatment, and Samantha rushed to the hospital the moment she heard. She stayed all night holding Lily's hand, refusing to leave. When Richard arrived in the morning, he saw Samantha asleep in a chair with Lily's small hand in hers, and Jason watching over them with exhausted eyes. He realized this wasn't a game. Jason wasn't after wealth, he truly cared. Later that week, Richard called Jason into his office. You remind me of myself before I built all this, Richard admitted. Maybe that's why I fought you so hard. But my daughter's happiness matters. If she chooses you, I won't stand in her way. Jason was stunned. Thank you, sir. Months passed. Jason's construction business grew, not because of Samantha's money, but because of the respect he earned. Samantha continued to balance her life between high society, obligations, and afternoons with Lily at the park. One evening, during a simple family dinner in Jason's apartment, Samantha looked at him with tears in her eyes. You know that night at the gala, when I asked you to act like my husband? It didn't feel like pretending. Jason took her hand, his heart pounding. Then maybe it's time we stop pretending. Right there, surrounded by Lily's laughter and the smell of homemade spaghetti, Jason asked Samantha to be his real wife. She said yes. The story of Jason Miller and Samantha Blake became something of a legend in Chicago. A billionaire's daughter falling for a poor single. Dad wasn't the kind of tale people expected. But to them, it wasn't about wealth or status, it was about finding someone real in a world full of masks. And for Jason, the night he was asked to act like a husband changed everything because it led him to the love of his life and gave his daughter a family she never dared to dream of.